It is Monday night, and you know what that means. Cincinnati Soccer Talk Live. 9 p.m., fresh on the air, coming to you from your least favorite social network. I can confidently say that since you can watch this on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I'm Boston Brazel, your host tonight, and soon I will introduce my fellow co-hosts. But first, FC Cincinnati continue drawing in Cincinnati, and this one was frustrating against Montreal. A red card was shown in the 74th minute to Camacho, and FCC went a man up, still finished 0-0. Then headed to New England to play the best team in the league. And well, folks, there is a gap from the top to the bottom. That gap can also exist on this show, but I'm pleased to say that the two people joining me tonight are not too far down the list of people I wish were truly here. First up, welcome to the show, Mr. Bryan Weigel. What's going on up north?
That's a great intro and so much better than what we're used to. So congratulations there, Boston Razzle Dazzle. Yeah, man. I mean, just the FC Cincinnati, it's just not fun anymore. So I've tried to switch my soccer funness to my kids. They start their matches this week, so I'm jazzed up. I think that's honestly, sadly, got me more psyched than hell is real this week. So I might need a little bit of help from you guys to kind of get my levels back up.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I don't know. Like, I think we all feel a little kick in the gut, because we all thought, there's going to be some serious improvement this year. But watching Huddle Ball, bunch of kids, I just not sold. I'm not sold that that's better.
I think Subs asked me in the spring what formation I was going to run, and I called it the scrum. So yeah, it's definitely the scrum formation. We'll see how it goes. My little girl Lily, she's never done sports, and she's really impressed me over the past couple weeks of practice. So she's exceeding my expectations more than what I can say about a lot of FC Cincinnati players. So it's going to be a fun year.
Well, speaking of the little ones, I saw you recently took both of them to an FC Cincinnati match. I think it's been the first time in a while that you've got both of them down there, right?
Lily's first game ever, and Bryan's first match since he was, 20 months, something like that. So, yeah.
Are you worried, though, about people reporting you for parental abuse?
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, though. I think they should be more concerned because I got Lily a thing of cotton candy, a thing of actually, I can't remember if it was Diet Coke or Sprite. I want to say it was Sprite, maybe lemonade, and then 2 things of Skittles. So yes, the sugar that night was off the charts, but it was fun. Had a great time. She's now is going to believe every time she goes to these matches, she gets to spend like $40 at the snack bar. So
well, the Bengal season's coming up, and if you get them psyched about that, you're going to have to buy your way out of that as well.
Never going to not taking after seeing all these fights at preseason football games. I'm never taking my kids to a Bengals game.
Oh man, I better change subjects here. Geoff, I've enjoyed many a beer with you, man, at Mecklenburg Gardens. It never occurred to me that someday you would live in fear for what terrible way I would introduce you on this podcast.
Oh no.
Uh-oh. Well, I'm sort of doing it to myself today, but yeah.
Yeah, what's up with this dress?
Well, quick explanation.
Wait, for those of you on the podcast, he is wearing New England gear.
But I was told that I can't wear Revs gear. So I guess I misread the memo. I thought it was all the other New England teams. So I've got a Bruins scarf. I've got a Celtics hat. I've got a Patriots t-shirt. I mean, I tried wearing a Revolution jersey at the pickup game that all the supporter groups had this weekend at the training center. I put 2 in the basket, and we promptly lost all 3 games. So I was hoping that would be motivation, beat up on the New England guy. But I guess it didn't happen this weekend.
Well, you've made these big life moves. You were a Revs fan. You became an FC Cincinnati fan. You completely missed the boat. You're a day late and $1 short there. Now you have big life news. You're becoming a married man. Did you take your time on that too?
I guess you could say that. Maybe I went into this approaching it like a Brad Friedel. I wasn't experienced in it, but eventually I've got a ring on it. Proposed a few weeks ago, and yeah, we'll see what game next year it butts up against when we get married.
Well, I'm proud of you. When you first told me you were going to propose, I had my doubts she'd say yes. So, but I am proud of you.
I think we got to somehow convince Geoff Birding and co. to see if we can get a pretty steep discount in the West End Stadium for a wedding reception.
She told me I cannot get married in the plaid blue and orange suit. So,
well, can you tell our listeners, do you have an open bar, and where and when so they can show up?
Well,
enjoy it on your dime.
We're still working on that. It might not be that big. It could be in Vegas for all we know. Maybe we'll go see a Las Vegas Lights game. But it's going to happen. I love her. She means the world to me. And I think she loves me back because she lets me go on this.
There you go. Well, maybe we need to do what we did for like Wiedemann or somebody, and when his registry comes out, we'll flood it on social media. See what we can get you. How was that? I don't know if you're talking about later. I guess I really haven't even pulled the rundown up. But how was that supporters match?
It was extremely hot. If you thought that James O'Connor was complaining, I believe everything he says about sneakers and cleats melting on the pitch. But yeah, it was good for what it was worth. About an hour and a half. And yeah, it was great to see the pride. It was great to see Queens, the Mafia out there. And yeah, it wasn't for very long, but I think we all needed something on our minds out. It wasn't exactly team related.
Yeah, that's awesome. You guys got to play on the turf field?
Just not the grass. Oh, yeah, no.
Just
we're not
field turf.
No, I want to play on the grass, but yeah, Dan said no.
That's cool though, man. It's a beautiful complex. I still want to get out there and check it out, but every time we have a media open house or something, somebody always gets to that top of that list there. So we'll see.
Well, we appreciate you tuning in this week. As always, you can reach us at feedback@Cincinnati Soccer Talk if you want to share your thoughts. Also, drop some comments in the chat bar. We would love to take some questions or topics from you tonight. I think we can fit it in. Real quick, we are going to give you our best and worst of the week. Of course, give a shout out to our great supporters. FC Cincinnati signed Chris Duvall. I want to get your guys' thoughts on that. Got a little small segment called Montreal versus New England. That'll be fun. Hell is Real is coming up for both Columbus and Cincinnati lately, and it'll be interesting to see what goes down here this weekend. Got some questions on Brenner, and of course, a nice mix at the end if we have time. But real quick, Bryan, give me your best and the worst. There was a double game week this week, so you've got lots of options.
Oh, God, I probably should have checked this out to see if I'm not stealing whatever you guys have. Oh, man. I would say the best, even though I still think he lacks in a lot of different ways, is Brenner. Could have had a goal midweek, had a goal that wasn't a spectacular goal, but he worked hard to get it there. So I guess, I think I say this every week. If the kid has 8 goals, to me, that is the beginning bar of what I call a successful year for him. These young DPs don't put up 10, 12 goals, and I mean consistently. So yeah, I know we spent $13 million on him. I don't, I think a lot of our fans are like, oh, he's a $13 million. I don't look at him as such. He's an investment. So I just want to keep seeing him do more and more things to get that ball in the back of the net. If he's only going to get 2 shots, I want them both to be on target, and I think that's how we kind of need to look at him. I mean, in the scheme of things, overall, he's doing pretty well. I mean, he's got he's our leading goal scorer, 5 goals. He either has 1 or 2 assists, depending on what website you look at. I think he's leading the club in minutes by a lot, and I mean, I think he's he's tied with Lucho for shots on target. So, I mean, the kid's doing okay. I think we all would say, even though he's frustrating, I think we all would say Lucho's been successful, air quotes. So I think you got to say the young kid is too. So just want to see more out of him. And then worst for the week is Gustavo Viacia, man. I look at him some days and I think he's incredible. And then I see him be flat foot and ball watch and just get taken advantage of. This is the second game that he's been taken out at halftime. And a lot of that stuff was on him, just absolutely getting sauced on I think it was the second goal he got sauced on and being flat foot on, I think it was the third goal as well. So yeah, it's just unfortunate that one young player is doing well and the other is starting to struggle later on this year.
So. All right, Geoff, you're up.
I'm trying here. Usually I start with the worst, so I might as well continue that trend until it works. I think the worst is that we have trouble penetrating into the box. You take a look at the distribution in terms of the types of shots that we take on net. We only take about 6% of our shots up close within the 6-yard box, as compared to 10% with what our opponents have. So we tend to try to, weave in there, do some rinky-dink, tricky footwork to try to get by people, and it keeps getting stopped. And that really showed a lot within the Montreal game when they were a player up with a little bit of time left. Instead of trying to spring it around, try to see what the outsides could get, they're trying to penetrate the middle, do back passes, quick passes, and they're getting stolen, pretty easily and just kicked out. Teams are coming into our stadium and they are assuming that they're going to get 1 point automatically. So that's frustrating. That's, I think, the worst right now. The best, and I see this from the perspective of seeing what our opponent this past weekend looks like. New England, I think, could be sort of the prototype of what we could end up becoming. You take a look at what they were back in 2014 when Jay Heaps was their head coach. A lot of their success came from the talent that was borrowed from Steve Nichols, his guidance. And as the coaching started to take over in terms of getting the ball into the goal, the talent just could not keep up with it. They brought in a coach, Brad Friedel, who had no MLS experience, and he was gone pretty much within the year. And then they brought in Bruce Arena, someone with tons of MLS experience. I see us as being able to follow that. If we can bring in an MLS coach who has that experience, who has that knowledge of what he's playing against and where he's going, then I think you can see much more success with the talent that we're bringing in.
Did you just fire the legendary Jaap Stam?
Well, he looks like Brad Friedel. Maybe I am. But it's not my say, but to me, he looks like an interim coach managing right now.
Yeah. I think we're, Brad said it best, and we can talk about this later too, that you get measured in these games like versus Nashville, versus Columbus. And this is another game this weekend that we're about to see where he's going to give, he's going to either put a check in that box for keep me around or kick me out the door. So,
I like the measuring stick because I had that in my best. This is going to sound odd, but I think FC Cincinnati brass, I think Carl Linder, Meg Whitman, whoever's watching, needed to see the gap between first place and 13th place. They saw it in the past, but here's where I got concerned. FC Cincinnati has drawn a lot, especially at home where these owners they're at those games in person. And my fear was, maybe it's unjustified, maybe it's justified, but my personal fear was just that they would see these 0-0 draws or the 1-1 draw and think that we are closer than we are and might keep a Jaap Stam around, or because I personally am not thinking that's a good decision, but they might not make enough roster changes or might make the wrong roster changes because they might think it's close. And then when you go play a New England Revolution and you just get spanked, I feel like that is almost what we needed. And it's terrible to say, but I really think that, because things can change quickly. You already mentioned it. The Revs turn their team around in just a single hire and a couple good GM decisions. And so FC Cincinnati is at that point again where we know we have a new GM coming. We maybe, possibly, probably have a coaching change if things don't improve quickly. So I think it was a good wake-up call. And it proves that we need more help. And I think the owners, so far, they've been showing that they're willing to throw the money down or do what's needed. My worst, though, man, how about trying to sell season tickets right now for the next season with FC Cincinnati still not having a home win? Like, oof. And you know what's tragic about it is the one department at FCCHQ that's done a fabulous job all 5-6 seasons so far. It's the ticketing department. They've just hit home run after home run, and they've kept good price points for the fans. Geoff Smith, how many times have we raved on this show about Geoff Smith? I mean, absolutely crushing it over there. And now they probably have the hardest job they've ever had. There's no new shiny toy. There's no wins on the field, and they have to convince you, listener, to come back. So that's going to be a interesting one.
I still look at it like, this first year within the new stadium, it felt like the stadium was the sales point, that this was the big thing to come in. You came in to see what it looks like and not necessarily the performance on the field. But now that we're seeing the numbers that are coming through, the fact that we haven't gotten to see a 3-point game, we might see the U.S. men or U.S. women win at home before we win at home. That's going to be a rough thing to really stomach. And I think as a fan, you swallow your pride, you swallow your gum, and you have this heart-to-heart talk with either the front office when they come calling, or your family, and just say, look, how badly do we want to see these guys win?
Well, it's that time of the show, I think, where we introduce our awesome supporters. And I'm going to give a big shout out and thanks to Tim Bronsel, Tom Rose, Mount Adamchek, Mike Hudson, Brian Malone, Jamie Smed, Jonas Tom, Jack Emery, Mike Bowman, Kathleen Francis, Matt Emholt, Matthew Long, Joe Coling, Tara Mullins, Riley Stephen Burke, and Melissa Bingle. Thank you so much for your support. And learn how you can support CST over on CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. FC Cincinnati signed defender Chris Duvall this week. Might have been a surprise to some. Is this just more of the front office trying to bring in depth, Bryan, do you think? Or is this a signing that you think got backburnered and just came to life?
I want to know where the hell a backup right back signing was months ago. And it's just another sign that Gerard did not have a plan. He was a fraud. He built this roster just like crap. Yes, I know we had issues with Zico getting hurt, but I mean, this is bizarre. And when you have to go out and get the Hamburglar to step in at right back, I mean, poor guy. I hope he gets in shape. I hope he's fine for us, but I have zero hope on this signing. Yeah, he's got a good pedigree. He's been a long time pro, but dude looks as big as Isaac from Ted Lasso on the field. So yeah, very, very low expectations on this.
Yeah, he hasn't played that many minutes, over the past few years for Portland. He had about a total of half a season in the past 3 years for them. He's played for Houston. He's played for Montreal, New York. He's a journeyman. He's only there, I think, if there is a player who just cannot answer the bell, he'll pick up the receiver and see what he can do. I'm not expecting anything but just a warm body, to tell the truth. It's a shame because I think we had 3 or 4 opportunities to have a right back if even Hagelin was being considered for it. Then 2 injuries, 1 got let go, and it's a tough thing. Suddenly you're down to 1 player, and you just need somebody who's able to get out there for 15 minutes and give them a spell.
And if if Zhao's injury is going to be a while, yeah, you had to bring in somebody. It's just it's a scrap heap. It's a scrap heap. It reminds me of like the Reds when they were or the Pirates. We'll call it the Pirates. Bring in guys who just nobody else wanted. So it's a shame. I mean, he might be a great guy. I'm not holding this against him. It's just he feels like a guy who should be playing in the USL, not Major League Soccer.
I made a joke on Twitter about how FC Cincinnati trialed him twice. I found that very interesting. Like the first trial didn't go very well.
What was this? When was his last trial?
So he was here, and
Okay.
Pat and Laurel did great reporting, and they kind of said, "Hey, FC Cincinnati's been looking at, this trial list," and then all of a sudden they said, and they're looking at this trial list again.
Was this a few weeks ago or was this last year?
Unless I have my names confused, yeah, it was right before they signed Cristobal. So I could be off here, but I made a joke on Twitter about how it seemed really weird to me because of the back and forth. But if I have the wrong name, then that's even more funny, really. Duvall, real quick though, he's had 100 MLS appearances. He's only 29 technically, and most of those minutes have been at right back. He played for Portland Timbers, 13 appearances with the Timbers in 2020, including he has played against FC Cincinnati. So does all that time behind the ball, that's a lot of MLS minutes. You don't think he'll see the field with all that experience?
I mean, I guess the fact that Zhao's hurt now and the fact that Hagelin got sauced again, we'll see what happens. Do we really think that Barreal is going to be a right wing back or answer a right wing back? So I don't know, man. It just seems like it was a warm body move. I can't imagine so. I mean, he's been in the league for a while. I mean, was it 8 seasons? Same draft class as Nicky Hags. So, I mean, he's got legs on him, but again, I'm not hopeful.
Yeah, I don't see. Go ahead.
I feel like I'm a Debbie Downer, especially with everything going on. But it's just this isn't the move winners make. It's really not.
Well, I mean, we're at the point that the window's closed, and so
you're limited because
you take what you get here in this. Actually, you can only enter a league right now, right?
I don't know. Free agents. I don't know. People are saying like Columbus is bringing in some players from I don't know the whole thing. But
wasn't Columbus even linked to Giovinco?
Yeah.
When you were talking all about the the whole panic move in terms of like seeing the revolution, seeing us not showing any positivity or negativity at home, so no one's making a move. You take a look at what Columbus is doing; they've lost 7 in a row, and they're trying to find a panic button that they can push. Maybe this is our weekend. This is the opportunity to hit the animal while it's wounded.
Yeah, we thought that they were down and out for the count when we played them last time because everybody was gone, and they're worse off than at that time.
Yeah, I don't even know. Well, we're jumping segments a little bit. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's just move to.
Now you know how Soup feels when you're on.
I know. But let's jump to it. Hell is real is Hell is real for Cincinnati, for Columbus, or for the whole state of Ohio when it comes to soccer right now? Because it's ugly.
Is anybody paying attention? I mean, the play for both teams on the field is as ugly as their tifos were this past week. So they're all torn up and shredded, and we'll see if they actually, come out, and reach their full expectations. So doubtful because, just like their tifos, they didn't either. Oh, gotta love it. I do love all those guys that do tifo sweat and all. They're good people. I just had to rib them a little bit.
Yeah, I was shocked because they do put a lot of, like, you want to talk about MLS teams that go all out for tifos and like make a big deal internally about it. I think you got like Seattle, Portland, Columbus, and I don't know. The list might stop there.
Geoff's eyes. Jeff's looking at off screen like, I don't know about this.
I think there might be a few of them. I mean, it depends on the type of, I think, way that you can present it at the field. You either have to do it above the crowd or you have to, use pull chains. Definitely not Nashville. That's for sure. Maybe the printer's out. I don't know. But
wasn't there some EPL team that had a printed tifo now it makes it harder to justify.
Oh shoot, who was that?
Yeah, this past weekend I heard about it.
Premier League. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that is pretty cool. FC Cincinnati fans got 500 tickets and a ticket block to go to Columbus, and they sold real quick. So despite the club being in the hole it's in, the fans are still going to show up and travel to Columbus. That's kind of a point of pride for me, because when you're kicked and down, I think it's easy not to make that trip. And I think there probably are plenty of people, justifiably so, that are not making the trip that might normally make it, especially if you have life going on here back at home. But could you imagine Columbus shoving that in our face? Like, they give up. They don't even sell their allotment. Like, I would, if I was a Columbus fan, I would have shoved it in our faces that we're Fairwater fans, whatever. But they sold them. And what's going to be even cool is that means I've already heard people buying crew tickets because their game's not sold out yet.
Oof.
So we can spin it back that way.
Oh, attendance FC. I love it.
It's quite possible that the crew fans still haven't figured out where this new stadium is. I mean, they might be still at map free and they're like, we're here for the parking lot, fun and festivities. Where is the team?
Has anyone seen the stadium? Like, I'm going, but I don't know if there's anything around it. I've heard mixed results. Like some people have said, oh, it's the arena district, but that doesn't mean anything to me. What's the arena district? Is there food? You lived there, Bryan, didn't you? In Columbus? Did you not live in Columbus? Do I have this wrong?
Brad did.
Brad, I got the wrong brother on the show. Brad could totally hook me up with all kinds of info.
I think it's in a good area, or that will be in a good area in time. Just needs a little bit of, just like us, man. We're not perfect. We're still balancing everything. We're balancing how to get in the stadium, parking.
But we have a Gomez in our stadium, and that kind of solves
damn right.
Yeah, that's what when people say FC Cincinnati hasn't won a home game, I said every home game's a win with Gomez.
All I know is I'm looking at the map of the field right now, and the closest other thing in the area is a cemetery. I don't know. Yeah, I mean that's Apple saying it, not me. Yeah.
I have a bed and breakfast, and because I'm going with the wife, and so that's how you convince your wife to go to an away soccer game, and so it's walkable. It's closer actually than most hotels, so that'll be interesting to see. But that's the only thing I know. Like when we went to Map Free, you knew you were tailgating, so I would load the car full of grill out gear. And I just don't know if that's what I'm supposed to do. Like, do I load the car with my cooler, or are we all headed to a bar like we would here? So if anyone out there knows, shoot that to me on Twitter or Cincinnati Soccer Talk, because I've seen the questions on Reddit as well. We're all a little confused. Columbus fans aren't helping us out. What do? They tailgating? I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe. Go ahead.
No, so I think they do have some tailgating around there, but it's they're just learning.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a question to ask them for March to Match Day.
Look at that segue.
Yeah. Well, I think Brad's working. Our first guest for March to Match Day got straight up just said we don't want to talk to you. So yeah. So in traditional Columbus, that's what I kind of expect out of them. But we'll see. We'll see if we can get somebody on for March to Match Day. We are struggling, but we'll try.
Who did we piss off inadvertently?
I don't know. Well, here's the thing.
Didn't we piss off inadvertently?
Yeah, that's true.
Here's the thing. All these guys are like doing their own shows, and then there's us every week popping up. Hey, you want to talk to us about Cincinnati? They're always like, man, I got to do my own show. you notice how many people come ask for us? Very few.
Well, yeah.
All right. Well, Columbus, Cincinnati, we're all dodging the topic and talking about tifos and attendance and whatever. We don't have the strongest record against them over time. Do we have a chance here? What do you think, Geoff?
it's tough to really say that we have a chance because we haven't looked that great on the road recently. Considering that our only 3 wins have been on the road.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, I mean, lately it's been that loss in Nashville, been the loss in New England, a few draws here and there, but we've taken a major step backwards when it comes to being on the road. But, we did show up when it came to facing off against Columbus. So right now the line's weak. Yeah, their line, I should say, not ours. But, we can, I think, change our momentum. I mean, we have to change our momentum. If we lose this game and we give Columbus just an ounce more of that momentum, they've got something to hang on their wall as bragging rights. And they also have momentum to maybe make one last shot at making the playoffs. They have a lot riding on their season. I mean, they were expected to be number 1, and they're looking like anything but number 1.
Mm-hmm.
So they got a lot to work.
I look at this is like Stom's last hope for like a springboard of success, because we go at Columbus, then home versus Miami, and home versus Toronto. So these 3 matches statistically should be all 3 winnable games. And I know that's a scary word for FC Cincinnati because we don't know how to do that. But I mean, realistically, like these 3 games could give him an out. So
do you want him to have an out?
This is sad. Same thing about Gerard. Same thing about Stom. I root for him to succeed, but we'll see what happens. I think if this team would have had a solid left winger, I think our results would be substantially different than they've been. But I don't know. Yeah, we got a shot. Columbus is weak. We're actually halfway going to have a semi-normal week rest-wise, so hopefully we just don't look absolutely dog-tired. So I'm hopeful. I always want to root and have a win here for this match. Same thing like Louisville, Columbus, Nashville, want to win them all the time. Must win.
I think I have to side with you on winning this match is more important than sacrificing it just to stick it to the man. If it was New England again, I don't know. I didn't want FC Cincinnati to lose, but like I said at the top of the show, that I was kind of okay with it. I'm never okay losing to Columbus. Let Stom win 7-1. I'll sing his praises for 1 week, and then I'm still going to want him gone next week. But I think that's important just to hold it over Columbus. Like, man, can you imagine the banter? Like, hey guys, you won the league last year. We are 2-time wooden spoons, and you just lost in your own house to us. So suck it.
Your new house.
Yeah, your brand new house. They beat us in ours. It's only fair.
They didn't beat us in ours.
Did we draw that game?
Yeah.
2-2, bro.
2-2.
Oh, that's right. It felt like a loss. That's why my brain will not let that be a draw, because
a lot of games are like that
I'm
for us.
so mad about it still.
At this point, it's not as much about winning and losing as much as it is making room next to the golf cart with us, and looking to the side, seeing Caleb Porter next to us, and we're like, "Sup, you're here for the postseason too, huh?" I want to drag them down with us. If this is going to be hell, we're going to take them to hell with us.
Ooh,
there we
that's
go.
a good one.
Hey man, any points that can get us not to the wooden spoon. The wooden spoon are great.
Do we win it? If we win it 3 times, is it a golden spoon?
Might as well be.
Like a golden sombrero?
I think that's 5. I think that's
okay.
5. And it's a silver. I think it's a silver. I can't remember.
Augustine asks on YouTube, can we just buy tickets on SeatGeek for Friday? There are still plenty available. Yeah, I mean, that's what I saw when I looked. There's tons of tickets out there. So if you want to go to Columbus, you're listening to the show, just buy their tickets. They're not buying them. So hop on SeatGeek, and let's all go to Columbus on Friday. I'll be there, and if you find a spot to hang out, the offer is open.
I want to have a question here. So, to me, Columbus kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Florida Marlins, like back in the day, like how they win like 2 World Series, but then they're like in a decade, like they win 2 World Series in a decade, but every other season outside of that, they're just garbage. So like they buy a team and then blow it up. Buy a team and blow it up. Would you rather be like a team that has like 6 or 7 really bad seasons but still win the cup twice? Or would you rather have like a little bit more consistency?
You're asking a guy that's on a 3-season depression, so
I mean, I love the fact how all these Crew fans are just losing their mind. Absolutely. It's like, come join us at the table, guys. They're just losing it. They're attacking each other. They're learning all the lessons of FC Cincinnati, just cannibalizing one another. And it's just kind of funny to watch another fan base do this.
The thing is, you have to be careful about taking that for granted. And I know I'm looking at past history, and the one that's most visible to me has been the Revolution. In 2014, that season, they went to the Galaxy and faced them in the Cup. They had a horrendous summer. They could not win their way out of a paper bag. Then they got the right pieces in place, and they had people starting to get healthy, and they started winning their games. They rode that momentum. They went into the Cup. Granted, they didn't win it, but they could have won it. So as much as we dog on them for losing 6 in a row, they've lost against some really good teams, and they can turn this around.
When did they bring Buchanan in? Because whoever made that signing looks like a freaking genius.
That's somebody that was way under the radar. But when you have the first pick of the first round, everybody else looks like lesser goods.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even hear that guy's name a few years ago. Now I know he's the world's greatest player. Columbus, though, going back to your question, Brian, I don't understand it. They got Zellerine, Zardes, Clifford Adams just put commented that on Facebook, and then they added Molino from Minnesota, right, and Bradley Wright Phillips from New York. So maybe they overdid it. Maybe it's too many players in the locker room. I don't know, but it doesn't make any talent sense unless you can say BWP's done. His legs are shot, and Molino was just a one season wonder. I don't know.
I think they've missed quite a few players. Like Zardes I think he's injured now. Zalarayan, I think statistically, they said he's dribbling the ball where it's actually contributing to like a negative XG. And then they've had a couple other injuries. I think they've had to rely on Harrison Awful a little bit more than they wanted to. So, I mean, there's just a lot going wrong for them, and they've had to rely on a small core of players to get through that international break. And now they're hurt, and they're not doing very well. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, but I don't know.
I'm trying to look to see what the average age is of these teams, but I have a feeling that their average age is much older than what people are used. Yeah, I'm looking at it right here. Mm-hmm. These are easily into the 30s in terms of their lineups that they start.
Oh yeah. I mean, they got like Luis Diaz and those guys that are young, but yeah, like Maitan or whatever, he's 21, but he hasn't really played very much.
I mean, you're taking a look at the teams that you put out there. Yeah, you're getting Kevin Molino, you're getting BWP, you've got Zell Ryan out there, you've got Darlington Nagbe out there. You've got a lot of good talent, but this is also talent that's been banged up in the past, that have gone through seasons where they've had to spend time on the injured lists. This is a team that they tried to put together with talent off the signing rosters. I don't really know what their academy looks like. When I look and I see youth coming in and banging in goals, you look at Pepe from Dallas, you look at the entire Dallas organization, you look at Seattle, who had a bunch of teenagers playing one of their games that they won. This is youth coming in and showing that they've got a difference that they can make. Columbus has a team that's a little longer in the tooth out there.
Yeah, the talent, it does on paper, it doesn't make sense, but that's the great thing about soccer. It doesn't always have to make sense on paper. I mean, look at FC Cincinnati. You got a Costa Brenner. I mean, the top should do better than on paper. The top just should. I mean, you got the fifth. We've said it a million times. 5th most expensive roster in Major League Soccer, and so you expect more attack from there. And that kind of leads me into my Brenner question. He scored again. We're starting to see. So there's been a theory out there, and I'm going to ask Bryan this because you've already brought up Brenner once on the show. The theory is, and I hear it over and over again on shows like Extra Time, that these international stars, Chicharito, they need 2 seasons to come on board, and they warm up towards the end of season 1. Is that Brenner's path?
If he had a better distribution avenue, I think it could be.
Well, we're starting to see what he likes. He
quick give and goes. Yeah, he gets on the ball too deep in the attack or too whatever near half line, which I don't like. But
that ball into him versus New England, to me, that is the perfect Brenner play.
See, I think that we had a good setup, and I'm being reminiscent here. We had a good setup when Licati was there, who could sub in and be that second big time scoring opportunity.
As the vision.
Take all the pressure off of Brenner, have him available to clean up anything that gets fired at goal. When we lost Licati, I think we lost a lot of our momentum. We lost a lot of our our substitution pattern.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's the only real scoring threat, I'm glad that he's got 5 goals at this point. But once Licati left, it sort of put a lot of pressure on him, and I can't fault him at not being able to answer to the bell right now.
Could he do more? Is he as clinical as we need to be? Is his passing as good as we need to be? No. But he's still getting chances. He should have arguably 6 goals. I think he had another one waved off offside too. So I think he's had several in the back of the net, 7, however many goals. So yeah, I agree, man. I think I just, he's young. I think it's going to take time. I want to give him all the patience in the world. And again, this feels like another case of FC Cincinnati not fully supporting their high dollar investments. Like Kadia not putting the pieces around him effectively this year, kind of, but not fully doing so with Brenner. So we need. Our new GM's going to have that big, shiny, high dollar DP spot that he's going to be able to go after, and we need a home run splash signing. I personally think that left wing role. I can't imagine wasting a DP spot on a 6. I just don't, unless it's a high, amazing like Jordan Henderson or what. I mean, never would happen. But I'm just saying, like, yeah.
So is that Bry's plan? Fix FCC is build a team around Brenner.
Build a team around Brenner, and then get a 6 who's a quality 6 that can be dynamic, not make the easy pass all the time, not make the back pass, have a little bit more additional vision. Like, honestly, like what Geoff Cameron can sometimes pulls out of his bag of tricks, on those long runs to Barreal. So somebody that can do that, I think you really will start to unlock a little bit more pieces in this attack. So, I mean, I like Kuba. I think we've all said this year Kuba's done well in a role that he's not familiar with, but just seeing more and more and more, he's not the guy.
Yeah, Kubo is not the guy that, we saw little flashes of last year. He coming out of the gate, he looked pretty decent last year. And then I have a feeling that really when it came to the pandemic and really shutting things down, it really switched gears. He really wasn't the same type of person going into the rest of the season. And then this year, when he's asking for him to play a new role, like Joe Zhao. You sort of got rust that's being shown there. He's not used to that spot. He's done well, but I think he has so much of a higher ceiling that he could experience.
What was worse for FC Cincinnati this past week? The draw at home or the loss versus New England? I'll give you both a shot.
Draw at home.
Is it just because as a fan, like you're just dying inside waiting for that win?
My expectation for New England was nothing. It was a loss. And even without their best player. Guys, New England played without their best player.
But their team is full of star players.
Stomped us.
Yeah.
It's a team that knew what they needed to do to create chances to win, and they were managed well. And I think we had the chance. I don't think Montreal's as good as their record is. I think that, whatever, they bunker and they didn't come out, and we don't have the creativity to unlock it. But you still think that we should be able to at least get a shot. to beat Montreal better than what we did. And honestly, we could have that offside. Jonah, love that video. But yeah,
I think that game was. I want to compare it to NYC FC earlier this season, that we're going in and we're sort of expecting the thump to come. But also back then we didn't have Acosta available. So we were sort of hamstrung in some case. Would we have done better if we had Cruz maybe available? Probably would have been 4-2 instead of 4-1. I think the fact that we held them pretty well at home, a hot team at the time, and only lost 1-0 at home, sort of was evident that, well, okay, if we go into their stadium, we should get thumped, and we did get thumped. So the fact that we once again had another advantage, we had a lot of offensive advantage. We have a lot of, the fact that the red card came out once again at home, and we still couldn't capitalize off of it. We're not learning from our mistakes, and that's what was the frustrating thing about the Montreal game.
Yeah, the red card thing is weird now. I mean, you're talking about over 100 minutes. That's a full, even over a game, over an entire match being up, and really even not really putting shots on goal as much as you should. Bryan, you chalked it up to a lack of creativity. I like that. Because I've been trying to figure out. You look at a team like New England, and keep in mind this is an FC Cincinnati defense that has done pretty well. They've been limiting goals, but New England just sliced through us. I think I used the reference, a hot knife through butter. And so that's where my brain kind of went, what's going on? Because Geoff Cameron and company have been steady. So is New England that creative?
They're dynamic.
Or are we just tired?
They got dynamic playmakers. Oh yeah, we're definitely tired, but they got dynamic playmakers. You could see it clearly after they went up 3-0 that they kind of took their foot off. And then when we got one back, they turned it back on. Like, they get the ball, they push fast, and they run it down your throat. Or we'll get the ball on a counter, we'll get going, then for some reason Kubo pulls the damn ball back, and all of a sudden they get 9 guys back and set up their defensive shape. And we have no ability to get through there. We need to make those, deadly passes. I mean, Brad's been saying it nonstop. Like, look how frustrated Geoff Cameron is back there yelling at guys to get on the same page, to make those plays. And you see that little bite coming out of Harrison Didden too. I think those are 2 veteran leaders that are showing a little bit of attitude that this team needs to make some changes. We're not dynamic. We don't have the guys and the right pieces there to make it dynamic. And I mean, that's what I said about Stum. I don't blame him for not playing some of these players. Yeah, it's not good management, but our talent drop-off is massive. And then you look at the guys that New England trot out. They're not even playing all their best players against us. So
New England also has, I think, just the right amount of seasoned veteran leadership. Yeah. And they have the right amount of perfect youth coming off the bench. Yeah, the fact that
they're deep.
I mean, Buchanan has attitude. He's got experience as a Canadian national on the national team now. Yeah. He's got what it takes. But then you also look at the back line. Andrew Farrell has been a quiet keystone in their defense. They are solid top to bottom. And then once you get by that defense, you've got Matt Turner.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you were talking about the right group of veterans. Like, this is where a quality roster build and people with connections get players like a Tommy McNamara, who's the bottom of your senior roster spots. Quality vet, knows how to win games and break down opponents. He's not the flashiest guy, but he was contributing very well. And that's to me, that's the type of guys that we need to bring in, like more Velos, just guys like that to help us, kind of get that bite.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. How do people? Velo started his first game against New England. How do people feel he's performed so far?
For a guy who's practiced with the team for like 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay.
He just got thrown in there. That's I have the same view. I liked what I saw as the sub. One, I was just shocked that Stom subbed him in that fast against Montreal. So I did want to see him against New England. I knew that would be a tough assignment. Going against FC Cincinnati plays at the speed of snail. And unless they can get the other team to match them, and play really slow, which they do sometimes do. Montreal's a great example. That Montreal had to play at our speed, and it wasn't good for them. New England, New England refused to be slowed down. They wouldn't play our game, and it showed. And I think Velo was a nice burst of speed out there. I like it. I think he suits a faster FC Cincinnati. I wish if we get to the point where we stop worrying about being scored on so much and just play forward faster. I think Stam has tried to do this whole build out of the back, and he's pushed it so hard that FC Cincinnati plays it so slow. And if we can get to the point where, and I take it back, we do get faster when we try to throw it over the top, but that's not what I think. New England plays on the ground and they fly forward as soon as they make that turnover. FC Cincinnati could do that. They really could. I just think that's a confidence issue, a coaching issue. And I like Velo in the future for that stuff. I don't know if I start him every game, but I like him as
starter. He's a spot starter with Major League, just like Tommy McNamara.
Mhm.
Throw him in different positions. Velo's not necessarily a winger. He can kind of play a wing, but guys like that have the league experience, I think would benefit this club so much greater than bringing in fringe international talent.
Yep, pretty good. Red card curse continues. We've already kind of discussed that. Why does FC Cincinnati though struggle against the bunker? Does anybody have the answer to that? Because I can't figure it out.
Probably because they can't work their way around the bunker. I get frustrated seeing people try to cut through the middle and do these small, passes. It worked with Acosta and Brenner to get that one goal at New England, but they've tried to do some pretty things, and I think people are just reading it. They're like, he's going to try this, and they're ready for it. They don't go to the outside as much as they really need to.
Great question for Coach. On talking tactics.
Did you see this comment from Juan? Missing FC Cincinnati goals in Boston's hairline. I've been roasted on Facebook. On Facebook, yeah. Bryan cuts his hair so short he gets away with it because you can't tell.
My goodness, actually, wow.
I had hair before kids.
That is a very high hairline there, Boston. Huh?
I know. I'm working. I'm trying to work through the rundown here, and then that pops up. So
yeah, I'm ready to talk about some U.S. soccer.
Oh yeah, bring that in. Yeah,
we have U.S. women and U.S. men now. So if you are a fall Cincinnati soccer fan, you are going to be broke. Yeah, that's what I can tell.
Busy.
Yeah, that's right.
Busy. We got 3 home games coming up, and then the women's game coming up in the next 4 weeks, something like that. So
and then you have all of those October games.
Yeah.
And then bam, there's November. You got US Mexico on a Friday night here. It's going to look extremely palatable.
Mm-hmm.
Bryan, for those of us that are trying to figure out when and where to get tickets, do you have any info on that?
Yeah, I think the women's game should be any day. I would expect you be getting some emails because I'm a premium insider through the Federation, and my allocation day is on Tuesday, so I'm pretty excited about that. So I think either Wednesday or Thursday you should probably be able to get your women's tickets. I'm not going to give you any tips on getting men's because y'all, I want to get them and I'm not going to help. No, I'm joking. Follow AO Cincy. They're great people. They're going to be on the show hopefully in the next week or so. I know Bill Wolf's been working with them along with a bunch of the other SG leaders to have a really good experience. So I think we've said it already. Be American Outlaws members, and I think that date might hit registration window date might have passed for that to help get tickets maybe.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure exactly, but just
be
ready for that secondary market.
There's always a secondary market, and I'm afraid that might be where I'm headed, but if I have to head there, I will, and I'll put a second mortgage out on my house.
At this point, I just hope we can go. I really do.
I'm going.
Sorry guys, wear a mask, do what you need to do so we can go to this game, please, because it is special. If you can go to it anywhere, it's special. If you can go to it in your hometown, it's going to be extraordinary. And I just, please, for the love of God, let's just
It's a big one.
go. I just want to go.
It's as big as it gets, and
Yeah.
there's not going to be another U.S. Mexico for a while. Like we've had several in quick succession, right? But I think what's the next big tournament? I don't know if there is one in a while for a while.
The next game against Mexico would be March of 2022 in Mexico.
In Mexico, yeah.
Yeah.
There's 2 years until the next Gold Cup, I think.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was thinking the next one in the U.S. it's going to be a while. So
keep in mind though that the whole ground is shifting in CONCACAF. You have Canada having an incredibly talented team. We were talking about Buchanan just a few minutes ago. The U.S. are playing them September 5th down in Tennessee. So, these games, while we're looking forward to Mexico, we can't take our eyes off the prize. We've got a lot of competition that we've got to face down.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting cycle, and I mean, hell, even Jamaica, I'm worried about, and you never know what Costa Rica. They're always tough, a little older, but yeah, it's gonna be fun, and you got chances. I mean, we got chances literally. If you're listening to this in Columbus or Dayton or whatever, I mean, we're gonna have women's games in Cleveland and Cincinnati within 4 days of each other. Really kind of makes me question kind of the decision-making process, because people in Cincinnati probably aren't going to Cleveland, and yeah, whatever. But the men, I mean, you're going to be able to go to Nashville. You're going to be able to go to Columbus and Cincinnati all over the span of 2.5 months. So it's something really special.
Heck, you have, I think Austin is hosting the one against Jamaica. And like you said, with Costa Rica, that one's up in Columbus. So that if you can get a ticket to that one, that might be pretty interesting as well. You're going to have 2 of our players on Costa Rica going up against the best of the U.S.
I want to say the deadline for AO tickets for that is like Tuesday, the 24th. So
tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, I think. So yeah, if you want AO to get in the AO raffle, you better put your entry into that hat right now.
But I think the Cliff Notes version is the women's tickets are first, and they're coming up really soon. Mm-hmm. And then the men's are probably at the end of August, right?
Yeah, they said emails will go out the week of the 30th.
All right. So keep your eyes out. Keep your eyes on those emails. If you're at work, tell your boss that on the 30th you need to check them every 10 minutes and see if they'll just give you the day off. Yeah. Check your email. The 2021 Anthony J. Precourt Memorial Wooden Spoon race is on, and Toronto is trying to hold that last spot and make sure FC Cincinnati does not get it. FC Cincinnati is second in the Wooden Spoon race. Houston and Austin, and I think now even Dallas, are all on our heels. The whole state of Texas is trying to beat Cincinnati and Toronto to the Wooden Spoon. If you had to place your bets today, who are you giving the Wooden Spoon to? This can be just a one-word answer.
Houston and Cincinnati, or Cincinnati.
It's going to be a tie?
One of them are two. And ironically, it was either going to be like Tab Ramos or Ron Jans for that head coaching job. Mm-hmm. So we didn't really, miss out.
Who we hired.
So maybe the recruitment would have been a little different.
All right, Geoff, who's winning the Wooden Spoon?
Oh boy, you're holding the figurative gun to my head here. Earlier, I would have
play this back on Twitter at the end.
Earlier, I would have said Austin, because they just were not putting any offense on their at goal. But now they're starting to face the teams that they should be beating, and they're facing them at home and beating them. So I think Austin's out of the picture. Houston, they don't really have an identity, but I don't know. They're able to win some of these games at home. I think it's Toronto. I think Toronto is a team that's long in the tooth. They really only have one decent player, and that's Pozuelo. They've got a lot of injuries that they're trying to sort out. And frankly, I think that their coaching situation is also still in flux. So right now, I'd say Toronto just by a little bit.
No, I think I side with you. Toronto is a bit of a mess, and that's an understatement. FC Cincinnati at least has their team. We just don't know how to get it all together on the field. But Toronto's they're a disaster in about every area right now.
Yeah, you were talking before about like who's the Marlins of the MLS. That might be Toronto. I mean, they've had
a good. They
had a lot of good talent on that, and now that Altidore is not exactly healthy. They're not starting a young Michael Bradley anymore. Pozuelo isn't exactly great. Their defense is a little bit in shambles. They feel like the Marlins this year.
Think we can trade him Hagelin back?
Hey, they might.
I'm joking.
Nicky's
staying with us. He needs to stay with us. I'll root for that guy forever.
Yeah, you don't want to.
I'm not Subes. I don't like to run the time way too far over. So we've hit the hour mark, boys. Let's get your final thoughts. Bry, you started the show. You can go first here. What's going on? What's your plugs? What podcasts are you working on? What articles have you written?
I don't know. I probably won't write any more articles. I'm joking. Yeah, I don't know. Just enjoy it. It's. We're hearing that there should be a GM soon, and I really hope that was it. We had Gerard hired when we had, I think it was a Columbus Crew match or something like that at one point, something like that. So
that's right. He was like in the stands, wasn't he?
In stands. So maybe we have that again.
Yeah, everybody do your GM searches.
Yeah, we'll see. Everybody who's going to Columbus, have your binocs out and look. And so we're hearing that they're down to potentially their final 5, and hoping it's very soon. So I just hope we get somebody that has some decent experience. And yeah, I just want this next page to turn.
It's an American football coach.
Yes. I don't know. Maybe who's the I was saying, who's the UC football coach? Can we get him? I'm joking.
Geoff,
I get yelled at.
Final thoughts.
I think my final thoughts, it might be just something on the whole. We're really getting into a portion of the year where we're being deluged by soccer. I mean, we've got the MLS, we've got, if you're a USL fan, we've got USL, we've got NWSL. We've got the big 5 in Europe opening up their seasons. We've got international qualifiers going. There's a lot to process. And so I just want to tell everybody that while it's good being a soccer fan, there's nobody forcing you to watch all of these games. Take a break. Yeah, find something out there, especially going on right now with what we're going through. Take a break. Look on the outside. Take a weekend just to get out, sniff some fresh air. We're getting into the fall season pretty soon. You'll be picking corn and pumpkins and going through corn mazes. So find that period of time where you can take a break.
Except from soccer podcasts, no breaks allowed.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, sorry. The guy that's holding my cage says I have to improve morale. Sorry.
Just avoid Arsenal. Just avoid Arsenal games and Tottenham games, and apparently you'll be happy. Is that how it goes? I feel like that's what my feed is.
I think you might want to avoid Nice at some time the next month or so. Oof. Oh. If anybody isn't sure about that one, basically there was a little bit of a scrum. If you're a fan, don't throw stuff on the field, and they won't throw stuff back at you. So
yeah. First off, how about this? That's the one thing I'm interested for. And I wish somebody from FC Cincinnati would listen to the show. Please, please, please pour beverages into cups for that USA Mexico game, because we are one of the very few stadiums that actually do that. Like,
yeah, we don't have, we haven't. Columbus actually had an incident last week. They just got their cans back. And then they threw them in the Nordic last week. So they're having a big issue about whether they're going to remove their cans. And I was thinking to myself, we really haven't had can problems in Cincinnati.
Well, I think we do a lot of really good self-policing.
Yeah,
I think our leaders of our SGs are excellent. Yes, people disagree with them, but I really feel like we have some of the best leadership. Does it always do we always agree on things? No, but I think deep down there's a lot of people that really value supporting the right way.
Yeah. So is that your final thought? Keep your cans down by your can.
Just take these games mean a lot to people. They mean a lot to the players, but don't take it to the extremes. If you realize that you're getting bent out of shape over these games, that's on you. Take a step back, take a break. Give your tickets to someone else for free if you want to, and just take a breath. You don't have to be there for every game.
I like it, but we do appreciate, I guess this is a lead into my final thought. We do appreciate you, listener. I know sometimes the thing you do not want to do after watching FC Cincinnati drop points is turn on a soccer podcast about FC Cincinnati dropping points. It's like reliving. It's like watching the game again. But, and we see it sometimes in our numbers, and it's to be expected that we take small dips sometimes when the team loses. Actually, what's interesting about the stats is when the team wins and then drops one, it's actually really good for us because everybody's still pumped about the win, but they want to know what went wrong. They tune in to CST, so our numbers get huge on those boosts. Yeah. But the loss or the tie loss, whatever doesn't help us. But we do appreciate you tuning in each and every week here on the podcast, on the live show.
I'm going to say something, and this is going to be bragging, and I wasn't really even there for this large portion, but we look at the statistical numbers of the show, and we were legitimately ranked in the top 35 of all soccer podcasts.
Yeah, that's not us. We don't make the numbers. These people listen to us. You guys.
Yes, you guys do that. So it's your sharing, your all that stuff, and that's something that's really special. I mean, we were legitimately up there with. I mean, I think we were a spot right below. What's Jason David to the best soccer show? Whatever that. Yeah. We were like legitimately the right underneath, and it's not always consistent, but that was very cool to see. And just from guys that do this for free, that was much appreciated. So. Not trying to brag, just very appreciative and thank you.
Was that pre or post Shandy? I want to see those numbers.
I think it was like right when we were winning games, and we were still kind of carrying because like we normally get like a 2-3 months into the season, and then things go how they go. But people have been very interested in the club, so.
Yeah, well,
tune in for hairline diversity from Cliff Adams.
Yeah, but if you listen to the podcast, you have no idea we're about our hairline. So Cliff, you're one of the brave souls that turned it into the audio, and we appreciate it. What Bryce said, it's awesome. It's awesome to see that. We know it's not us. We know it's really the fans of Cincinnati that care a lot about their team, even when they're losing. I mean, other teams in MLS recognize it. I've seen many times on Reddit that people will say, how are FC Cincinnati third in attendance? They've sucked for so many years, but you guys have still showed up, and you show up here, and we appreciate it. I think that's all I got. You guys have anything else? I got to get us out of here. I'm breaking my own time limit rules. So, thank you again from all of us, and as Subs would say, watch your tackles.